put salt into the wound, Kathy Sheets, another passenger, just told me that her credit card was charged $20,000 in Tel Aviv. So in addition to, I thought they were going to confiscate the ship to get rid of the crime scene per se, but they're now releasing it presumably to the Israeli public, just so you are aware what they're up to. And I hope you collect information about this also.
That's a cry.
Yes, there were virtually everyone on the two ships, other than the Marmara, came off the ships with only your passport in your pocket. That was it. All of your identification, all your credit cards, everything was left on the ship. The soldier said you were not taking it off, and of course we were, you don't like to leave your stuff like that, but when you have a rifle pointed at you, you leave it. Remarkably, some of the identification emerged in 2 bags that were brought to Istanbul. One of Kathy's credit cards was not in that bag, and indeed it has been run up. But on the Marmara itself, the passengers there were able to keep their identification, their fanny packs, and small bags. But there's a lot of, well over $1 million worth of equipment that is gone right now. So we're making formal demarches through our governments, to the Israeli government to try to
sadness and sympathy and empathy for the families of the victims. It was truly kind of shocking in a way. You would think the people who would be least shocked are Palestinians in Gaza at this kind of violence, but nonetheless they were. And so there was a profound sense of sympathy from, I was getting condolences, and I'm sure in Turkey they were getting condolences from all over the place. There was quite a bit of concern that, for the people who were still in prison, because initially people were held incommunicado. I didn't have communication with my wife for the first over 48 hours and didn't know what was happening to her. So, the outpouring of sympathy from people who, are kept in a cage and subject to these kinds of conditions is just so amazing to experience. People in Gaza obviously want us to continue. There's no doubt about that. They want us to continue to break the blockade. They feel empowered by what we've done. They feel strengthened by this kind of exhibit of solidarity and support. And I'll just say, many months ago when we first were trying to raise money for the cargo ship, we asked people in Gaza, we said, look, it might cost us $300,000. It may cost us $400,000 to get a cargo ship. Do you want us to raise the money for a cargo ship that may get stopped and taken away from us? Or do you want us to use that money to try to get medicine into Gaza or something else? And to a person, we consulted with a wide variety of people. Not one person said, no, don't get a ship. People in Gaza understand this is political. This is about challenging Israel and challenging its policies, and that it's something for us in solidarity that we can do from the outside to do it this way. So there's a tremendous amount of support. I can tell you, people in Gaza all the fishing ships were outfitted with flags, with banners, with all these kinds of things, ready to sail out and meet us as far out as they could get when the flotilla was due to arrive. There was a tremendous amount of energy and excitement in Gaza. And so, of course, there was disappointment, but obviously the disappointment was replaced by shock. Part of the question was about calling attention to the fact that South African longshoremen have joined, I think you mentioned Danish, but I actually think it's Swedish longshoremen, maybe, I think it's Swedish, who declared a boycott from loading ships with goods that are destined to Israel, and I think also offloading anything that comes from Israel as well. And calling, this is something that we have tried with not just these kinds of unions at the ports, but also other unions as well. The Postal Workers Union in Canada has joined the boycott already, teachers' unions in different countries. This is definitely something we are trying to support and encourage and reach out to our networks. But honestly, there are 9 of us who work in Free Gaza, volunteer, and do all of it, right? There are our coalition partners handle their ends of things. So, there's a lot to do and not a lot of us. Now, that's why we feel it's so important, as I mentioned, about being an international community and the work that we can do. This is something we can all do. It's something that doesn't require Free Gaza to take the initiative to do. It requires somebody picking up the phone or sending an email to somebody they know or somebody who they know knows somebody in a union, in something, somewhere, and pushing it and going with it. And if anything, as I think Anne can testify from the people on the boats, when you're on the boat, you feel empowered by being on the boat and by doing something active. But that's not the only kind of activity. This kind of activity, attending position and going out and doing our official position, what we believe in, is that not only do our people, but Palestinians also have, by international law, the right to resist their occupation and the policies against them. But furthermore, this attack in international waters is, forget talking about resistance, this is self-defense. And this is a principle of international law, and pretty much every international lawyer that is speaking out about this incident is affirming that we have the right to self-defense. When we were attacked, and not even when they fired a bullet, when the commander started to come on board and attack our ship.